The waters of Bass Strait pound the shores of King Island relentlessly. Since the seal hunter, Captain Reed, first stepped ashore here 210 years ago, many ships have run aground and sunk, which is why they have such a huge lighthouse at Cape Wickham. Just 1,600 people live on King Island these days, most around the eastern coast township of Curry. It's here that I begin to find out how amiable those 1,600 people are.
First thing you notice about King Island is just how friendly everybody is. Look at this, you wave and you get a wave straight back.
The King Island wave, it's infectious. The locals are so genuinely friendly, as I discover talking to Sally Marsden.
Hi, Greg.
What is it? What is it about this wave? We see it everywhere.
Oh, look, you would. It's friendliness. I reckon it's just this openness and keenness to welcome people to the island.
And people look you in the eye.
They do look you in the eye. It's a nice, friendly interaction with people all the time. That's what we're really, I don't know, that's King Island.
It's like everybody knows everybody.
Well, you do get to know people pretty quickly here. It's a small place.
Come eat with us, I hear often, and I have to comply. Enjoying a barbecue of freshly caught abalone with Ken Chapman and friends.
So how is it to live here?
Great. It's just, I couldn't go back to, I couldn't live anywhere else. This is, to me, this is where I've wanted to. View like that, stand here eating abalone, what could be better?
Yeah. We came down here 10 years ago, and this is our home, and at the moment this is the only place I want to live. Yeah.
So when we drive along the roads I see lots and lots of turkeys, loads of turkeys.
Oh yeah, they're great. Interesting enough, where the turkeys are, if they're on the roadside, they're owned by the government, so no one's allowed to touch them. As soon as they go on a farm, the farmer owns them. If they cross the next door neighbour's fence, then that neighbour owns the turkeys. So it's where they are at the time, who's the ownership.
Plenty of wallabies as well.
Oh, look, the wallabies are unbelievable. There's lots of different estimations, but, you know, to us, we've got 80 acres here, and I haven't had to mow the grass in more than 12 months. They just mow it for me, so I call them my lawnmowers.
And the weather, we've seen the weather pretty changeable. We've seen it sunny, now pretty cloudy today.
Well, your typical, it's a northeasterly, and that on the horizon out there, that's sea mist. It's moisture everywhere and the sun down, but it's part of the, it freshens up the air and it feels wonderful. We love it.
Yeah. And it can swing around to the northwest tomorrow, and then within a couple of days it'll swing back around to the south, and we get weather changes every 2 or 3 days. It can raining cats and dogs one day, and it can be like yesterday, absolutely beautiful.
The shoreline around King Island is usually littered with kelp. It grows in profusion just offshore, and as it's washed close to the coast, it's collected. Kelp is a big business here on King Island, with one of the biggest collectors, this man, John. Now, he never would reveal his last name to me, just a modest man happy to spend his days surrounded by seaweed.
Well, John, a most unusual profession you have, collecting kelp.
There's nothing wrong with that. I worked the kelp factory for 20 odd years and got sick of that. No money involved or whatever, so I had to go with this.
And this has been your full-time job ever since, eh?
Yep.
So what's the go? Are there particular times to come down and
Early
collect the kelp?
mornings, tide's going out, kind of just starting to turn.
And is the kelp always here?
Not all the time, no.
So how do you get lucky? How do you find the kelp?
I go around the night before, I just check the sea out and what's going on and like that.
Okay, so if you've got the right tides, you've got the right waves pushing the kelp in.
Yeah.
And there's plenty of it growing out there that's swept in.
Yeah.
Now, you've got a good collection of kelp here. How long has it taken you to fill this trailer?
Maybe an hour, hour and a half. It's slow going at the moment.
And value, how much money do you reckon this load's worth?
I don't know, 70, 80 bucks, maybe $100 worth of it.
That's to you?
Yeah.
So, and how many loads like this will you make in a day?
If it's there 2 or 3 times a load.
It's a pretty smelly business. It's got a good odour to it right now.
It's had the good with the bad.
As the king of kelp, John dutifully drives his newly hauled harvest up off the beach to the Kelp Castle, or as the tax department likes to officially describe it, Kelp Industries Proprietary Limited. It's here that John unloads and hangs his haul. Depending on the time of year, it will hang and dry here for between 1 and 2 weeks. Then it's taken into a very large shed where it will be shredded and hammered to make a very sought-after product. As we're about to discover, the kelp that so innocently floated off the coast of King Island is now being processed ahead of being shipped off to faraway Norway.
Wow. Final product, and it's off to Norway?
Off to Norway. In about 6 weeks' time, this will be landing in Norway. And they will be extracting the alginate molecules from this, along with other brown seaweeds from around the world.
Okay, so what does that do?
Alginate molecules make up most of the seaweed. They're a long-chain polymer-type molecule, and it's well sought after in the biopolymer industry for thickeners and gelling agents.
So for strengthening food, so...
Yeah, food engineering is a good way of putting it.
So a bonding agent that could be used, say, in schnitzel?
Yeah, they can bond meat scraps back together to make it look a really good saleable product. And schnitzels are a prime example of that. It's also used a lot in brewing to keep the head on the light beer. Alginates are used in makeups, shampoos, toothpaste.
So, of course, it is a vegetable and it's edible, surely.
Oh, it is, yeah. I mean, the cattle on the coast of King Island will munch on it when they get access to it, and you know, some of the locals eat it.
Of course, because the Japanese love seaweed.
Yeah, it's full of nutrients, trace elements, amino acids and all sorts of goodies.
Not all of King Island's kelp is processed like that. On the island's eastern side, there's a shop dedicated to kelp craft. Betty Collins has perfected the creation of a range of objects that began their life as kelp she collected from the beach. She dries it, she shapes it, and she puts it into a kiln where it shrinks. Hey presto, Betty's kelp knickknacks. One of King Island's more famous products comes from its cows. First, there's the beef cattle. There are some 10,000 Angus beef cattle on King Island, with this herd being rounded up today by these two dogs on the island's northern coast. A more sedate lifestyle for the milkers. King Island has 7,000 milk cows. This breed is Frisian Jersey Cross, being farmed by islander Gary Strickland.
You've lived on this island all your life?
Yeah, I'm born here. I've been on this farm all my life.
So how did you come, when did you make the decision to be a dairy farmer?
Well, probably when I was about 3 or 4.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because there's plenty of cows here.
Yeah, it was either that or become a vet, and I didn't like the idea of going to uni for 7 or 8 years to become a vet, so I went to Ag College instead and came back on the family dairy farm.
How much milk are we producing here today, Joe?
Oh, at the moment, like I said, we've got about 340 cows, and they're producing about 5,200 litres a day.
5,200 litres, that's
Yes.
a lot of cartons of milk.
But they've dropped, yeah, it is, but they've dropped down a bit. Like in the spring when we were milking 420, they were nearly up to 9,000 litres a day.
You like being a dairy farmer?
Yeah, I don't mind being a dairy farmer. You've really got to like it to do it because it's constant. It's 7 days a week and you've got to milk all the time, and especially now with split carton where you've got to milk all the year round.
So no holidays?
No holidays. It puts a lot of pressure on.
The fresh milk is cooled and stored in this giant tank to be made into cheese.
All right, Gary, milked 1 minute, in the huge vat another. We're going to taste a bit?
Yep, we'll do that. We'll try it. We'll take some out of the bottom there. You'll see it.
Oh, how fresh is that?
And it's about 2 degrees Celsius.
All right, Gary, well, you don't get it healthier and colder than that. No. Not pasteurised?
Beautiful, about 2 degrees and healthy. Nothing done to it. Hasn't been hit with being pasteurised and all the good bugs killed. It's totally different.
I can't believe it tastes this good.
Totally different to what's in the shop.
How about you ship me a container of this every week? Or every day?
Yeah, if you pay for it, that's good.
From Gary's farm, the milk is taken to the King Island dairy, where Yuli Berger takes over.
Well, Yuli, you're the master cheesemaker, Mr. Cheese.
Yeah, that's what they like to call me over here, yeah. And I'm quite proud of it because I've done it all my life and I really enjoy working with this beautiful cheese, yeah, so I'm very proud of that name. Yeah.
Proud and passionate, obviously.
Yeah, like the passion because it is just so superb, the cheese we can make here, and it's just lovely, so I really get passionate about it.
Now, you, of course, were trained in Switzerland, your home country.
Right, yeah.
Lured to Australia by the cheesemakers here, and you've stayed. You fell in love with the country and cheese.
That's right. Like I just could see so much opportunity because it was very young. really cheddar was all we had here, you know, so there was just so much opportunity, and I fell in love with the whole place and everything, and just what I could create, you know, so that was lovely. Yeah.
So what have we got here? What's this big?
That's our Endeavour Blue, so that's quite a robust blue cheese, yeah, so that's, you can see quite a big wheel comparing to some of the other ones we make. That's maybe our most robust and one of our most awarded cheese we make here on King Island as well. I can cut it so we can see actually what's happening inside it, yeah, so.
Wow, let me grab that. Now,
So
there'd be some gourmet eaters out there that would drool when they saw that.
At this stage it's maybe still a little bit sourness there, but over the next 2 weeks that will completely disappear and you just have the nice blue flavour coming up and quite robust, yeah, quite sharp, yeah.
So that's the fact, is it? This cheese is maturing all the time. Even when you've made it, when you've sold it, the process continues.
It keeps going, yeah. Like this is about 3 months old now, and I say not a couple of weeks in the maturing room, then it would get wrapped and goes out. But even on the market, it changes all the time. Like if you have a cheese that has still 50 days best before, you know it's going to be quite mild. But if it gets very close to the best before, it has a lot of go in it because it still breaks down, still matures, so it's still very much alive, yeah. So.
Yuli, when we were coming to King Island, so many people have said to us, the cheese, you've got to try the cheese. Now, why is it? What makes your cheese here so special, do you think?
It's definitely this rock out here, I reckon, is something quite unique about it, you know, like I know the French people talking about the terroir where they grow their grapes and making wine. I think we got a perfect terroir here to make cheese, you know, like in my eyes, having this extra little bit of salt in the air and all together, the climate, we hardly get a frost over here. Generally it's quite green all year round, maybe only a short time in the year where it dries off a bit. So all together I think the cows are pretty happy and they give us a very good raw product, yes.